Whether you realize it or not, color plays a crucial role in how a film is perceived by the audience, and it even plays a role in shaping the emotional power of a scene. And today we're going to be learning all about the power of color in filmmaking. Welcome back, Visionaries. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the power of color in filmmaking and how it's used to not only tell a story, but also shape how the audience perceives and reacts emotionally to that story. Before we get into that, however, if you're new here and you want to learn the art of filmmaking made simple, then consider subscribing and clicking that bell icon so that way you don't miss any new videos. With that said, let's dive into the power of color. Filmmaking has many great tools at its disposal to help tell a great story. And one of the most important and powerful tools is color. Color isn't just used to create a certain look or cinematic style, but it's also used to create an emotional feeling or evoke a certain mood. Color is just as important as composition, cinematography, good lighting, good performances, and good writing. In fact, it's so important that when we're watching a film, we often feel the effects of the chosen color palette before we understand why. For example, if a scene has a warmer color palette, it tends to create a more energetic, intimate, dangerous, or upbeat feel for that particular moment in the story. If a scene has a cooler color palette, then it tends to feel cold, sad, futuristic, or advanced, isolating, or depressing. But color doesn't mean anything by itself. Color means something in a specific context. For example, if a scene takes place in an advanced base or facility and the color palette is predominantly blue and white, then that can be seen as either technologically advanced or cold and clinical. Another scene may be shot in a restaurant with two characters and have mainly red or warm colors. It can be perceived as a romantic scene. Or another scene can be shot in a laboratory with the same red color palette, and it will be perceived in a completely different way. In the scene, a character can be running for their lives from something that got loose. And in that context, the scene will not be perceived as romantic, but frightening and full of terror and danger. There's many other colors that are used frequently to portray and represent certain emotions and concepts. Green can be the color of nature, renewal, health, riches, or wealth. Yellow represents joy, happiness, energy, cowardice, or illness. Purple represents grandeur, royalty, authority, nobility, and power. Blue represents cold, technology, depression, melancholy, calm, serenity, or faith. Black is the color of death, mourning, sensuality, mystery, or evil. White is a color that is used to represent purity, innocence, winter, cleanliness, or a clinical setting. Gold is often used to portray extreme wealth, prestige, prosperity, and extravagance. Pink is used to imply love, happiness, contentment, playfulness, and romance. Now that you know a little bit of what color can represent in filmmaking, let's dive into some specific examples to further illustrate the power of color. Take this shot from 2022's The Batman. Red is the primary color used in this scene, and although it would typically be used in a scene like this to emphasize fear, here it represents salvation and a way out of the darkness. It also provides a striking visual contrast to the darkness around Batman and the people following him. It also helps lead the viewer's eye through the frame and give the shot a sense of texture and direction. This shot from 2025's Superman is a great example of using blue to convey emotion. As Clark kneels over the destroyed robots after the Fortress of Solitude was invaded by Lex Luthor, the overall mood of the scene is sad and somber. Clark's second home has been invaded, and he's both distraught and upset. Since the fortress is also located in the Arctic, it is going to be extremely cold, so the blue color palette is a great choice, not only to represent the emotions of the scene, but also the environment. This shot from 2023's Barbie is a great use of pink, and in this scene, we see Barbie enjoying the energetic and bright atmosphere of Barbie Land. The entire feeling of the scene is one of joy, happiness, playfulness, and energy. In addition, the use of pink provides a stunning bit of color separation and contrast to the vibrant blue of the sky in the background. This shot from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a great example of the color green being used to convey envy and tenacity, but also evoke the birth of one of the web-slinger's most powerful enemies, the Green Goblin. As Harry Osborn crawls toward the Goblin gear, we see his determination to live, and in the following shot we see Harry's full descent into the Goblin's madness through his eyes and the increased saturation of the green color. This shot from Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings is a really cool example of using color and silhouette composition to create a visually striking image, but also play up the power and skill of both Shang-Chi and his opponent. In addition, the choice to have purple be the dominant color accentuates the silhouetted forms of the characters, lending even more energy to the scene. Black is one of those colors that is striking not only to look at, but is also used as a powerful narrative tool that communicates so much with so little. This shot of Gore the God Butcher is a great example of the use of black to not only highlight the evil and threatening nature of the character, but also bring out some of the fear factor of the scene. For the color white, we have this series of shots from the sci-fi thriller Minority Report starring Tom Cruise. We see the color white is used to accentuate the cold, clinical, antiseptic, and lifeless feel of the world and technology of the film's story. The white color palette not only creates an alien look and feel, but it also really adds to the feeling of harsh reality that the film is going for. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, really uses the color orange to not only enhance the dry, arid, and lifeless texture of the desert environment, but it also adds some warmth to these scenes. In addition to creating the look and feel of the scene, the use of orange adds some energy and visual interest to the shot that wouldn't be present if it was shot with a different color palette or shot with a more neutral color. Now that you have a good idea of how color can create a certain emotional mood and a certain cinematic look, we can dive into how color can be used to help tell a character's story. A character can start the story with one color palette representing who the character is and where they are emotionally. And the story can end on a completely different color palette, echoing where the character is emotionally and who they are now. To illustrate this, we'll be using some scenes from one of my favorite trilogies of all time, the Dark Knight trilogy. In the beginning of Bruce's journey, we see him happy and playing on the grounds of Wayne Manor. Bruce begins the story with a flashback to his childhood. The skies and overall color palette are a muted gray, which is typically used for darker or sadder scenes. This seems to be subtle foreshadowing for the tragic turn Bruce's life will soon take. By the time Bruce becomes Batman in Batman Begins, the city of Gotham is portrayed predominantly by sickly orange and yellow colors, emphasizing the ill health of the city and its residents. The next film in the series, The Dark Knight, is told primarily through blues and cooler colors to represent the overall heavier and more emotional core of the story, as well as the dark turn the story will take by the end of the film. By the end of The Dark Knight Rises, Bruce has left the tragic burden of Batman behind, and the final scene we see him in is characterized by warm tones and normal sunlight, symbolizing his journey from the darkness of his past into the bright future that he's running toward. With that, we've come to the end of today's deep dive into color in filmmaking. There's always more to learn and experiment with, so I suggest experimenting with color in your own projects. If you want to continue learning the art of filmmaking made simple, then consider subscribing and clicking that bell icon so that way you don't miss any new videos. and don't forget to leave one of these down below. Don't forget, stay creative, stay curious, and above all, stay awesome, Visionaries. Till next time.